Good morning, everybody. It's terrific to see so many faces here at the SHEcity episode. I'd like to acknowledge the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nations, the traditional owners of the land that we're meeting upon today. I'd also like to pay my respects to their elders, past, present and in the emerging future, and I extend that respect and acknowledgement to other Indigenous people that might be here today. So this episode of Workaround is presented by the Monash University XYX Lab, and we are a team of interdisciplinary researchers who are really dedicated to exploring the nexus of gender and cities, and you're going to be meeting each of us today. We really work to understand how cities shape gender and how gender is actually shaping cities all the time. And what we'll be doing here today is engaging in this idea of she thinking. And we're really thinking very carefully about the prevalence of sexual harassment and assault in cities. And XYX Lab have been involved in a number of research projects with a number of different partners around this particular social issue. So we know that around 80% of young women in particular experience sexual harassment regularly, daily, weekly. And we also know that around 80% of sexual harassment is unreported. So we actually don't really have a clear picture of what sexual harassment looks like for women and girls in cities. But this is exactly the kind of research that the XYX Lab is keen to explore and to really surface data around. Today what we're going to be doing is really thinking very carefully about some stories from some young women that we've been working with, to really start to look at the nuances of how sexual harassment finds itself in cities, and indeed how we can use design processes to start to think differently about sexual harassment and indeed design against sexual harassment. We're going to be looking at proposals for how we can respond to women's experiences in cities, and we want you to develop these design ideas.
First thing we're going to do is start to think about city spaces, but also introduce ourselves to each other at the table, because you're going to be working with this group all day. So we're going to start thinking about all of the things that are involved in living in a city like Melbourne, and we're going to think about them through three lenses: a social cultural lens, an experience, how you live in the city, and also the built environment. We've just had a flurry of activity. You've been making, you've been chatting, and we're going to try to consolidate everything that we've been talking about. So you have these quotes at your table. The back side is blank. And what we want you to do is take a few minutes with your group and rewrite this little story or this quote into
New stories of the city that are engaging with these really important issues that you've been looking at this morning. So what we'd like to hear is just a quick synopsis of the issue that you were dealing with, and then I think one or two people from each group can retell what this new city might look like.
Our focus was challenging that sort of pack mentality. There is an expectation of people who enter this public space that they will behave in a certain way. In this sort of ideal world, women also feel that they do have freedom of movement. The way that we wanted to re-envisage the streets was a very community-focused and also focused on sort of the role that bystanders and passive surveillance has to play. We kind of took a futuristic approach and kind of redesigned society and the city. The power has shifted. I confidently walked where I wanted to and when I wanted to.
First of all, thank you so much for an incredible generosity of sharing of ideas that you've actually done today, and the participation of these kinds of storytelling as ways of being able to actually problem solve particular scenarios. The fact that you probably came into the room and on your table you didn't know necessarily the other people on the table, but were able through this kind of process of storytelling and using the kind of city prompts, these kind of simple coloured blocks, to be able to think through incredibly complex issues.
Kira, we're here at the SHEcity workshop, and can you tell us a little bit about what we've been up to today?
Yeah, no worries. So today pretty much we've had a group of girls, young women, who have come in amongst stakeholders and experts in different industries to talk about how we can make the city safer. We really need diversity and diverse experiences, especially in the planning of our city, which is why it's so important to have women involved in the planning of our city.